Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share my full review, the digitally digested segment for the Feiyu Pocket 2. This 3-axis stabilized pocketable camera shoots 12 megapixel stills and video at up to 4K at 60 frames per second. Of course, you can take it all the way down to 1080p if you so choose. And at $330 US, this is a really solid option for those of you looking for a great travel companion. But I think the most common question that I'm going to get about this is whether or not it's better than DJI's Pocket 2. Well, as someone who has owned the original Osmo back in 2015, and I purchased the first-gen Osmo Pocket and second-gen Pocket 2 from DJI, but ended up returning that simply because it didn't do enough to improve on the original Osmo Pocket, I can tell you I think that Feiyu has done an excellent job here, and I think for many of you out there, this is going to be a better option than the DJI Pocket 2. Now, that doesn't make it better in every single way, and I'll get to exactly what I mean. First and foremost, the construction is all metal. It's excellent. Definitely better than what you get from DJI. You can see we've got the Type-C port on the left side of the body, the micro SD card slot right there below it. We have the joystick for controlling the gimbal right here, the button for starting and stopping recording, as well as capturing still images, and then we have the power button on the right side of the body, and we have a mounting point at the bottom. Something that oddly enough seems like a stretch with DJI, and DJI even has a rabbit hole when it comes to purchasing and really getting the best out of their product. Feiyu doesn't play that game. They're just trying to make a better product, and I appreciate that. One of the nice things with the metal construction is that this is magnetic. If you want to go with a hands-free experience, put it on a metal surface and you can vlog without holding it, without any accessories at all. And I like that. It's not something we need, but it's something that's nice to have. What does this do better besides build quality? We have a larger touchscreen. We have a 130-degree field of view, which you can probably see right now, albeit still a small preview. It makes a big difference in terms of what you're able to capture, and you can always change the field of view on the actual Pocket 2, again, from Feiyu. So, better battery life, larger touchscreen, wider field of view. But because this has the same size sensor as the original Osmo Pocket that I have right here, the video and still quality isn't quite as good as the newer DJI second-gen Pocket 2. But this still, I think, holds a candle to it, because if what I've mentioned is more important to you, aka having a larger screen, better build quality, wider field of view, and better battery life, then this may be the better option for you. And I can say that without any hesitation, because for me, those things mean more to me than the slightly better image quality. And I say that because as someone who generally carries other cameras with me, other than a device like this is really meant, in my opinion, to replace using your smartphone as your primary imaging device. And if that's what you're after, this will best the majority of smartphones on the market. So with that in mind, I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. When it comes to the actual menu system, let's jump in there so you can see what that looks like. So a swipe from left to right brings you into playback, so you can review other videos that you've shot in the past. And the speaker quality on here is okay. You have to remember this is a pocketable gimbal, so that's not really going to be its strong suit. A swipe from top to bottom brings you into your main settings. You can see you have your glamour effect, wide viewing angle. This is where you can actually change the viewing angle that you've shot through software, which is a nice touch. It's not anything groundbreaking, but certainly nice. And you can see you can just cycle through that. Narrow viewing angle, super wide, wide, etc. Now, I tend to leave it on super wide. As you continue to go through, besides the glamour effect, of course, setup, you have your battery, your Wi-Fi, your anti-flicker, your ketone, and the storage capacity, as well as auto power off, calibration, metering, and then there's also the More button. And with firmware, I have to say that Feiyu has already been fairly aggressive with this, and they need to be. In order to make a product like this successful, you've got to stay at it when it comes to firmware. You cannot sleep. This is a connected device. It's meant to be smart. It's meant to be convenient. And I think they've done a good job with that. Now, continuing on that menu system, face tracking, slightly not as good. I don't want to say inferior, but it's not as good as DJI. But remember, Feiyu's been in this game. This is only their second product, whereas DJI not only is the largest drone manufacturer on Earth, which they have face detection on, but they also have been making pocketable gimbals, not literally pocketable, but the concept as far back as 2015. So they're in their 6th year of making these products. Granted, they're only in their 2nd gen of making them pocketable. The Osmo, Osmo Plus, those were all on the market long ago, and I still have my original Osmo. Normal display, normal mode, which is Pro here, high brightness, pretty much all of the settings you're going to deal with. Then if you swipe from right to left, you have all your different modes. So inside of photo, essentially it gives you countdown and the aspect ratio, but more importantly inside of photo, and this is one area where I think the software needs to be tweaked. I think that's an area that Feiyu absolutely can address through firmware updates. It needs to be a little bit more intuitive, but that will come with time. This is, again, only their 2nd generation of a product like this, and they've already made generational leaps that DJI hasn't. When we get into video, that's where you can actually play with settings. You can see 1080p at 120 frames per second. We can up the resolution to either 2K, 2.7K at 16 by 9, and again, 60 all the way down to 30 frames, or 4K 16 by 9, anywhere from 30 to 60 frames. They have 48, they have 50. You're going to want to shoot in either 30 or 60. And they have slow-mo, they have inside of slow motion, you can do 720p at 8 times, 1080p at 4 times, or 4K at 2 times. And then if I jump back in there, time lapse, you have the option for hyperlapse, motion lapse, as well as time lapse. So a very similar feature set to what you get with the DJI experience. And then lastly, the panorama mode. So all of these things work. And how much you're going to use them, I mean, that's really up to you, but the real point of a product like this is having stabilized footage and being able to control it. Essentially, hitting this 3 times will flip it around to doing a selfie mode. You can see me right now in frame. If I go ahead and hit it 3 more times, it'll go back to the other side. I mean, these are all nice features that it has, very similar to what you'd find with the DJI product, and it has to be, because this is the whole premise of a product like this. You do have to be careful as to how you hold this device. You don't want to block the microphone there at the bottom. If you hold it like this, the audio is going to be muted, essentially. You will not hear anything, so keep that in mind. A little bit of a learning curve with this, but I think that applies to any of these devices. You have to learn how to use a robotic pocketable gimbal. It's just a matter of fact. But Feiyu has done a really good job. And remember, Feiyu traditionally makes gimbals. I mean, that is it. They don't make cameras. So I think as a 2nd gen product, this is very good. I do think the price will go down over time. So if you're on the fence right now and you want to see that price dip, and that's going to be the deciding factor for you, give it some time. I assure you the price will go down. The speaker that's next to the power button, as I mentioned earlier, it's not going to give you the loudest or clearest audio quality. Neither will DJI's product. So you need to keep that in mind. But again, out of the box, this thing working, not needing to be connected to a phone. The app's interface is solid. Control of the gimbal itself is very good. And most importantly, all the video I've shot with it comes out nice and stable, which is exactly what you expect and what you're not going to get out of something like your phone. Your phone will use electronic stabilization, but it will not come close to the quality you'll get out of this device. Last but not least, the different follow modes, really the modes for the gimbal itself. So you can hit that and you'll have recenter, which does exactly that. Here you have follow mode, then you have all follow mode, and then pan mode. And you're going to need to select which one you need to use on any given circumstance for what you're trying to shoot. Flip. Oh, I accidentally hit that, needed to go to the next page. Smooth, and then last but not least, when you're covering moving objects, motion. These are all optimized for their exact use, so keep that in mind. You're not going to want to track a fast-moving object in the wrong mode. You want the correct mode, otherwise your footage won't look as good as it could. Now, in wrapping this thing up, for those of you wondering how much sharper the video is or how much sharper the stills are from the DJI product, it's only slightly better. And I'm reiterating that not because I'm trying to sell these, because I'm not. It's my own experience. Just like the audio. The audio with the DJI product is slightly better, but that's only a result of DJI having such terrible audio in Gen 1 that they said, all right, we really have to focus on improving the audio quality. And if we don't do that, we're going to have a problem. And that's exactly what DJI did. Feiyu, on the other hand, they don't have the principal issues, the failings that DJI has gone through. They haven't had to essentially go through the growing pains that DJI has. So they've literally been able to look at what DJI has done and just try to improve upon it. And I think they've done that. So while the audio quality here is not stellar, it's acceptable. And as I mentioned, you can always buy an adapter, Type-C to 3.5mm jack, to then hook up any microphone of your choosing. Do I think that undoes the form factor of this pocketable 3-axis camera? Of course, and that's why I don't think it's necessary. And I do think with firmware updates, Feiyu can improve things. Of course, they can't supplant it and put a new mic in there, but ultimately, if your goal is to end up with a camera that replaces your smartphone's camera, I think this is going to do it. And then you can go back to using your smartphone for being a phone, and with excellent battery life like this, you're not going to regret it. And I mentioned earlier, the hole that these devices, at least from DJI, put you in with all the accessories, initially I was okay with it, but over time, it becomes so ridiculous, and DJI has really found a way to just make you pay for every little thing. You can see even with Gen 1, you had no joystick. You had to buy that as a separate attachment, and I did buy that. I bought the charging case, I bought the vlogging arm, I bought so many things that are all not needed to be purchased with this product right out of the box. Now, of course, the Pocket 2 has made those adjustments from DJI, but they still have left a lot of things to be desired, and that's why they have the Creator Bundle for a lot more money. You can see these products are ultimately almost identical in size, and this being the first gen Pocket, it does have the exact same sensor underneath the hood. So performance here is very similar, but again, even Gen 1 of the DJI Pocket, it was the Osmo Pocket, the field of view is even more narrow. And again, controls are worse. You are forced into using a phone. Here you are not. And no mounting point on the bottom, mounting point here. Where you're charging here is much more convenient than on the Pocket from DJI. All plastic construction as opposed to all metal. And I'm mentioning this because you might be considering whether or not to buy this or the Gen 1 Pocket. And I recommend this easily over the Gen 1 Pocket from DJI. The only, again, area where I'd recommend the DJI Pocket 2 over the Feiyu is if you know you need that extra fidelity. Also bear in mind that none of these cameras perform well in low light. So if you're expecting to take this out at nighttime and film, or using DJI's Pocket 2, it's not going to cut it. I mean, it will be grainy, noisy footage that you likely won't end up wanting to watch or use for anything. And I say that because these sensors are just too small. And that's something you have to be aware of going into purchasing one of these. A camera that you will get a little bit more out of is something like this, the Insta360 ONE-R with the 1-inch sensor mod. I've also got the battery mod on here for double the battery life. You'll get slightly better low light performance, but not enough for me to recommend this over this. You have to know which one you are ultimately interested in. And yes, this is an action camera that can get wet. That might be better for you. It really depends what you're after. I mean, I personally think that Feiyu has done an excellent job with the Pocket 2. And if I was brand new to the market and looking to purchase something that, again, for me, battery life, the larger touchscreen, and the wider field of view all check the boxes I would want, at $330, there's not much to think about. But if my primary goal was to get that little extra bit of overall quality and color science that DJI has over Feiyu Tech with the Feiyu Pocket 2, then of course you can go that route. I don't think you'll go wrong with this or the DJI product. And again, I want to reiterate that the things I've mentioned regarding build quality, battery life, and field of view and touchscreen, those are really the areas where, Feiyu has done a better job than DJI, only having been in this business for, under 2 years. So all food for thought. Again, I don't think you can go wrong with this. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I really enjoyed the time that I've spent with it, and I know this will be a travel companion in the future. It has replaced my DJI Osmo Pocket Gen 1, even though I have so many accessories for these. I guess somebody in the family will be getting a gift, or it'll just, be a backup. But I can easily recommend this camera, and it's just really flexible, versatile, and well made, again, at that $330 price. And I assure you that price is going to go down over time. No question about it. But that rounds things out. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.